Guys, what's up? Schoolpost 2009 here, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial, which has been requested quite a bit on my channel now, regarding the Battlefield 3 style intro, and today I'm going to show you how to make it. And now, before we start, I just have to say, the reason I didn't make a tutorial to start out with is because it uses many third-party plugins. I know some of you probably have them all, but for those that didn't, I didn't really want to make a tutorial for it. But just to warn you guys before the video starts, you will need Twitch, particular. You'll need DigiFX Damage V2, and I think that that should be all that you will need for this tutorial. All right. To start off with, you really just need some kind of logo to work with in the center. I'm just going to be using this EA logo, which I use in the original thing. So I'm just going to create a new comp with it. Caps lock here, and yeah, just simple EA logo. You don't really need to do much in this comp. You just kind of want it comped like that. Now we're gonna make another comp here, and we're gonna call it center object. Okay. Let's go change those dimensions. Good. Now take your EA logo, put it in. Now once it's in the comp, you're just gonna add a glow, stylized glow, add it on. Take the threshold down to 0, glow radius to about 126, and the glow intensity to 0.3. And you're gonna change the colors to AB colors, and we're gonna choose some kind of light blue. And then for the blacks, you want to choose a more dark blue. You might want to, yeah, something like that. And then what you want to do, duplicate it and make the top one a classic color dodge, just so it's a bit nicer looking. Now once that's done, you're simply going to create another new composition. This time we're going to call it logo. Then we're just going to take our center object, bring it into logo, create two new adjustment layers. Now the first one's going to need to have a preset, which you should all have. It's called Bad TV, and we're going to take old, put it on, turn off wave warp because we don't need that. Basically that's what you're going to be needing, just like that. Going to put it up to full resolution just so I can see it better. Alright, and now in the second adjustment layer we're going to add Twitch. Whoops, misspelled that. Twitch. And we're going to go enable slide. But what we want to do in the behavior options, no, the operator controls I should say, is turn the slide amount to about 10, turn the motion blur to 0, the twitch is a second, keep that at 1, the direction 90 degrees, the RGB split to about 28, and actually we'll make the motion blur about 22. And this way it only should be twitching side to side. We gotta turn our spread down to 0. That way it just switches side to side like that. Alright, good. And that's pretty much it for that part. Now we're going to go ahead and create a new comp once again called Final Render. Now this part is where it gets pretty difficult. So once you created your new comp, you're just going to take your logo comp, bring it in. And the idea here is to kind of make it move like you saw in some of the trailers. The trailer I'm using is the latest trailer. I'm not sure what it's exactly called. I will put it up on the screen right now as an overlay, and I'll show you frame by frame. But you basically gotta kind of follow the motion where it like kind of starts off really big, twitching everywhere, then slowly, gradually moving in towards the middle, not really scaling, but rather gradually going in and then twitching a lot, and then side to side very fast. And then at the end it kind of just like scales into your face and it just kind of disappears. So that's the effect we're kind of looking for. So to do this, first of all, we're going to need some new adjustment layers. We're going to do our Twitch work first, because that's the most important. So we're going to open Twitch. Alright. Now we're going to enable slide. Go to operator controls. And what you want to do is change this to ignore. Because if it's on mirror, and when it goes out of frame, you can kind of see it like pop out the other end of this, if you can see it right now, but we don't want that. We need ignore. Now go to the slide operator controls. I'm just gonna go into the effects here so I can do some better, easier keyframing. And right at the beginning of the comp, let's just turn down the motion blur down to like 0. We don't want like any. Just put the slide amount to 100. Add the twitches to 1.50, and we want to start off the direction at 0. That can stay, and the spread starts at 1. Sorry, and yeah, that should be it. Now you want to put keyframe all these. So now we're going to go ahead 2 keyframes. What we're going to do is, after that, turn the amount down to 10, the twitches to about 2, the direction to 90 degrees, and the spread to 0. That way it's kind of like all over the place, and then it kind of just gradually goes back to the center. And then now we're going to go ahead, like say, I'm not sure, like 10 keyframes or so. And then after that, what you want to do is change the amount down to 3, the twitches to about 12, the direction can stay as well as the spread. So that way it just starts to twitch out of control really like rapidly. So once slide is done, what you want to go and do is go to the enable and enable scale. Scale is pretty simple as well. We're going to go to the scale amount, and we're going to put that to about 75. Alright, good. And the scale twitches to about 1, if it already is on 1, good. And now we're just going to go all the way over to our 2-second mark here, and turn the scale amount to about 5, and the scale twitches to 2. Then over at this mark here, about 10 seconds after, we're going to turn it, we're going to keep it at 2 actually, and we're going to turn the scale amount down to 0. So it's kind of just, it's scaling, it's jumping everywhere, then it slowly gets back. Then it's pretty stable. And then what we're going to do is at about the 6 mark around here, somewhere around here, we're going to create another amount keyframe. Then go about 1, 2, 3, and make the amount like 1,800. So it just goes like all crazy. Scale motion blur. I want to turn that up as much as you can. There's not enough space in between these keyframes, so spread them apart a bit, just like that. And I'll just go like that. And then you kind of just want it to delete that part, so it kind of just scales and then just like cuts off. What you want to make sure is that the scaling is not, the scale motion blur is not affecting the earlier parts. So we're going to make it 0 right here. So just, yeah. And let's see, slide motion blur, turn it back down to 0. Sorry about that. There's really no specifics to this if you haven't really noticed yet, but it's kind of, the first time I did this, it was kind of just me playing around with the stuff, and right now I'm just kind of reading off my notepad what I have as my settings, but really you can do whatever you want. There's no real specifics to this, but I just wanted to kind of be as close to the original as I could. But yeah, that's basically the Twitch part. It's just going all crazy. Alright, now that the Twitch part is done, we can kind of start like decorating it a bit, I guess you could say. So another adjustment layer, add D artifact. If I can find it once again, damage artifact. Alright, now what you want to do is change these. We're going to have it set 200, frequency to 98, the duration to 20, and the freezing down to 0. Alright, good. So it's kind of just like really messed up. That's how it's supposed to be. Good. We're going to create some new solids, new black solid. Double click on your ellipse tool to make a ellipse of the comp. Then press subtract, F to feather it, and then feather out the black of it. Good, something like that. Then create a new solid. What we need to get is some kind of a blue, and here's the blue color code. It's 1E3867. Okay, and then you want to make an ellipse with that. Press F, go about say 677. Turn the transparency down to about 40% should do fine, and change the mode to add, and we're gonna put it underneath the logo actually. No, above it. Yes, sorry. And it kind of just so it just kind of stays in place. It doesn't really do much. Actually, we can turn down the opacity a bit more, or we can keep it at 40 actually. Now we're gonna add another adjustment layer. This time we're gonna add overexpose, which kind of just brightens everything up. Alright, now once more we're gonna add something called interference, another adjustment layer, and we're gonna put that underneath that as well. Over top of that though, and the modulation, turn that to 0. There. Now that looks kind of cool. Just like that. Perfect. And one more thing, just go to the logo somewhere in the beginning here. Press T for opacity options, and start it off at 100 in the beginning. Then we're just going to zoom in here. Then at about 10 frames here, keep at 100 once again. And then go another keyframe, and then just go to 0. Another keyframe, and then back to 100. You kind of just want to copy and paste this around occasionally, so it's kind of just blinking. And also create a new solid black. Alright, and then once again opacity at 100, then go another keyframe, go 0, another keyframe, 100. This will kind of just blink the screen, and what you do is you just copy these keyframes just a bit in the beginning here, so it kind of just fades in and out really rapidly. And what you want to make sure is that the last keyframe of it is a 0 so that you can see the rest of it. So yeah, sorry if this has been a kind of long but boring tutorial. Trust me, the when I did it at first, it took about a couple hours just figuring out everything. So I think the 15 or I'm not sure, maybe it might be even 20-minute tutorial I made isn't that big of a deal. I know it was a bit hard to follow because I really was kind of just guessing on what to do for this tutorial. Because like I said, there was just a lot of little options to change here and there. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you do want this as your template or would like it, but don't have the plugins or you just don't feel like doing the tutorial, just email me or leave a comment. Basically, just telling me what you would like the EA logo to replace. So, for example, if you're doing a channel intro for your channel and you want, say, your logo in the center, just send me your logo or give me something to put in the center here, and I can put it in there, render it for you on the original settings, and then I can just send it to you. So yeah, like I said, just email me, PM me, or just comment. Remember to include your email so I can send it back. Alright, so I hope I didn't bore you too long, and if I did, sorry about that. I hope you enjoyed this, guys, and